Hello, my name is Ajiboye Isaac, and today we want to discuss indices, an important aspect of mathematics. So it is very important to pay attention as we go through the notes. Our learning objectives: at the end of the lesson, learners should be able to identify index numbers, differentiate between index number and indices, state and apply laws of indices to simplification of system of indices. For example, 2a raised to power minus 1 times open bracket 3a close bracket all raised to the power of 2. Our reference material is New General Mathematics JSS2 by A.O. Kalejaye, chapter 2 of that text material, page 11. Key vocabulary words. Some of the key vocabulary words we'll come across during the lesson are index number. Is any number in the form of 3 raised to the power of 2, and it is read as 3 raised to the power of 2. So any number you see in the form of a base raised to the power or index is called index number, where 3 is called the base and 2 is the power. Okay. Indices is the plural form of index. Indices is the plural form of index. So if you have 2 or more index, you pronounce it as indices. So that is two or more index numbers is called system of indices. So lots of indices, and these are rules to be employed when dealing with system of indices. Okay, the laws of indices are rules to be employed or to be applied when dealing with system of indices. You will notice that indices or index numbers are special type of numbers, okay, and so we deal with them or we handle them specially. And so for us to handle them specially, we use laws of indices, which are rules to be employed in dealing with system of indices. Content definition: a raised to power 3, for instance, is a times a times a. A raised to power 3 is a into 3 places. It is important to take note of this so that you will not make mistakes of, for example, 5 raised to power 3 is 5 times 5 times 5, which will give us 125. That is, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. Therefore, 5 raised to power 3 is not 5 times 3. And 5 times 3 is 15. So 5 raised to power 3 is not 15. Rather, 5 raised to power 3 is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Also, 5 raised to power 2 is 5 times 5, which is equivalent to 25. And therefore, 5 raised to power 2 is not 5 times 2. 5 raised to power 2 is not 5 times 2. Rather, 5 raised to power 2 is 5 times 5, 5 into 2 places. Try this. Evaluate 3 raised to power 4. Evaluate 3 raised to power 4. Write it down, write your answer, and take a snap, take a shot of it, and send it to my WhatsApp number right away. Also, 2 raised to power 3. Evaluate 2 raised to power 3. What would that give you? Write it down and snap your answer and then forward it to my WhatsApp number right away. Laws of indices. Laws of indices. The first law we'll look at is the multiplication law. Okay, and that law says a raised to power x times a raised to power y times a raised to power z will be equivalent to a raised to power x plus y plus z. I'll repeat. A raised to power x times a raised to power y times a raised to power z will be equal to a raised to power x plus y plus z. What the law is saying is that if you have system of indices and they have the same basis, all the index numbers have the same basis, all you need to do is to pick one base and sum the indices. That is, you pick, for instance, a is the basis of these index numbers, and then just one base a, and then you add all the powers. add all the powers. So for example, x raised to power 5 times x raised to power 3 is equal to x raised to power 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. So that will give us x raised to power 8. That is x raised to power 5 times x raised to power 3. You will notice that the base is x for the two index numbers. And so we just pick one base, x, and sum the power, so that x raised to power 5 times x raised to power 3 will give us x raised to power 8. Similarly, 7y raised to power 4 times 4y raised to power 3. You will notice that the 7 and the 4 are not index numbers since they are not carrying any power. So you can treat them as simple multiplication. Just multiply the 7 by the 4. On the other hand, the y are index numbers because you have y raised to power 4 and y raised to power 3. It is therefore, though, on that y that you would apply the laws of indices. So since you have y raised to power 4 and y raised to power 3, you only pick one y and then you sum the power. So that is 7 times 4 is 28, and then y raised to power 4 plus 3. So finally, you get your answer to be 28 y raised to power 7, since 4 plus 3 is 7. And on a final example, 2 raised to power 1 over 2, x raised to power 3 over 2 times 2 raised to power 3 over 2, x raised to power 1 over 2. If you notice, you will notice that the 2 are index numbers. Since the 2 in the first instance is raised to power 1 over 2, and on the second instance the 2 is raised to power 3 over 2, that is an index number. So that's the system of indices. So you pick only one 2 and sum the power. Picking one 2, that is one base 2, and then raised to power 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2. And then again, the x's are also index numbers. So you have x raised to power 3 over 2 and x raised to power 1 over 2. So you pick only one x and then you sum the power, 3 over 2 plus 1 over 2. So if you add the two fractions, 1 over 2 is a fraction, add it to the other fraction, 3 over 2. You therefore find the LCM of the denominator, which is 2. So that will give you 2 raised to power 1 plus 3 over 2 times x raised to power 3 plus 1 over 2. 1 plus 3 is 4. So you have it to be 2 raised to power 4 over 2 and x raised to power 4 over 2. So that will give you 2 raised to power 2 times x raised to power 2. So it is important you take note of that. And our evaluation classwork, it's on exercise 2B, page 12, number 1H and 2H of the reference material is our classwork. So attempt the classwork, take a snapshot and send it to my WhatsApp number right away. I give you just 5 minutes to do the classwork. The assignment, on the other hand, will be due for submission first thing tomorrow morning. And the assignment is picked from exercise 2B, page 12, number 1J and 2J. Please attempt the assignment and forward it to my take a snapshot of the attempt and forward it to my WhatsApp number on or before tomorrow morning. So you are also allowed to ask questions while making attempts of the classwork and assignments. You can as well seek for guidance. Also, it is very important you make attempt of your classwork and assignments. That is the only way you can show your understanding of the lesson. Thank you for listening.